Venom, a substance that frightens many, but at the same time fascinates numerous others. Think about it. An animal producing a substance designed for a specific purpose, whether it be defense, as with bees and wasps, competition, as with male platypus, who compete with each other for breeding rights, stabbing each other with their venomous spurs until the other gives up, or for prey capture, such as with venomous snakes. Now, this is going to be the first episode of a series I want to do on Venom, going over as much stuff as I can. Now, in this first episode, I'm going to talk about what is venom, what is poison, what's the difference between venom and poison, some examples of routes at which someone is poisoned, someone is envenomated. Then examples of venomous animals and examples of poisonous animals. So that's what this first video is going to be on. But if you enjoy this video at all, by the end of it, please like, please subscribe, stay tuned. This is just the beginning of a whole series to go over Venom. As much information as possible. We're both going to learn. But yeah, let's get to it. And just a side note, I'm only using footage of what I have available. So things that I've personally taken, which is mainly snakes, and then a few other species I go over. But the rest of the animals that I talk about that I don't have footage of, I'm just going to show footage of snakes and stuff in order to avoid copyright strikes or anything like that. So what is venom? Now, the definition of venom is venom's a secretion produced in specialized cells in one animal. It's delivered to a target animal through the infliction of a wound that disrupts endophysiological or biochemical processes in the receiving animal to facilitate feeding, defense, or competition by the producing animal. So in simpler terms, it's highly modified saliva produced by one animal that disrupts processes in another animal, either for feeding purposes, defensive purposes, or competition. And this is achieved by inflicting a wound in the receiving animal. What about poison? What's the definition? Now, something I should mention is that in this series of videos I plan to make, if I refer to poison, I'm referring to poisonous animals, not poisonous plants. Even if the definition might be the same, I just want to make a mention of this, just so you know, I'm referring to poisonous animals. Now, poison refers to a defensive secretion, passively delivered to a potential predator. So what is the difference between poison and venom? How about we find out? So if you're watching this, I take it you're already interested in snakes, so you may have heard of this saying. But if you haven't, a common saying when people are trying to explain the difference between venomous versus poisonous is this saying right here. If you bite it and you get sick, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you get sick, it's venomous. But let's elaborate on the differences more than this simple saying. First, though, let's mention a similarity. Both venom and poison are toxins produced by organisms in nature. The differences between the two is the method of delivery. But what do I mean by that? Now, venoms are toxins that are actively delivered to another organism by being injected via a bite or sting through a venom apparatus. Examples of what I mean by venom apparatus are fangs of a venomous snake or a stinger on a scorpion. But poisons, on the other hand, are toxins that are passively delivered by being swallowed, inhaled, or absorbed through the skin. Poisons are very small molecules that can be absorbed through the skin or through ingestion, whereas venoms, they're large molecules that require a wound to enter the target. This is why you can drink venom, as long as you have no cuts in your GI tract, but can't drink poison. So to summarize and drive this point home, the difference between venom and poison is a method of delivery. Venoms require a wound, while poisons can pass through the skin without a wound. Now, I hope it's understandable what I mean by method of delivery. Now let me give you some examples of the routes of exposure between venom and poison. So poisons, for instance, the routes of exposure include cutaneous, for example, a splash of acid on the skin; oral, such as food poisoning; inhalation, such as carbon monoxide poisoning; ocular, example being pepper spray in the eye; parenteral injection, things like heroin overdose. Venoms, on the other hand, toxins produced by one creature but have specific targets in another. So they're endophysiological molecules that have been adapted for exophysiological purposes. Endophysiological means active within the producing animal. Exophysiological means active outside the producing animal. An example being within the other creature. So they tend to be injected in concentrated form into the dermis, subcutaneous tissues, or other anatomical structures of the receiving organism. So just apply term venomous to animals that possess specialized venom delivery mechanisms, such as a stinger or modified dentition, such as fangs. Are y'all ready to hear about some venomous animals? Now, venom has evolved in both terrestrial and marine environments, so land and sea. Also, venom has evolved in a wide variety of animals, both predators and prey, in both vertebrates and invertebrates. Let's just go over what a vertebrate and invertebrate are. Vertebrates are animals distinguished by the possession of a backbone or spinal column. So that includes mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fishes. Invertebrates are those animals that lack a backbone, including arthropods, mollusks, annelids. So we'll just start with examples of venomous invertebrates. These include arthropods such as spiders, centipedes, scorpions, bees, and wasps. There are even some venomous caterpillars and moths, some of which can be fatal to people. Insane! A little moth, fatal to people. Incredible. Now there's other venomous invertebrates as well, such as jellyfish, sea urchins, cone snails, octopus, many more. Now it's time to move on to the venomous vertebrates. Are you ready? Now there are venomous fish, such as the well-known lionfish, stonefish, stingrays. But did you know that there's even a venomous shark? How incredible is that? They deliver their venom through spines on their fins, and their venom is used for defense. It's used against potential predators. Amazing. There are venomous mammals, such as shrews, platypus. The males have that venomous spur that they use for competition in order to gain breeding rights. I mentioned it earlier, but the males will battle it out, stabbing each other with this venomous spur. Whoever wins gets the breeding right of the female platypus. But did you know that there's a venomous primate? A venomous primate, the slow loris. Check them out if you haven't seen one. Super cute. You've probably seen viral videos of them holding something tiny. People hand them little umbrellas. They're very cute, but they are venomous. And moving on to amphibians. There are 2 venomous frog species in Brazil. They have tiny spines around the crown of their skull and on impact deliver venom into their targets. And then venomous reptiles, such as lizards, the Gila monster, the beaded lizard, some monitor lizards, such as a Komodo dragon, and then of course venomous snakes. That's what we're here for, right? Now for the final topic of this first episode, poisonous animals. Some of these are prey dependent on their poisons. I'll explain what I mean shortly. There are poisonous insects, there are poisonous fish. There's also poisonous amphibians, such as salamanders and newts, frogs, and toads. The poison dart frog is a perfect example of what I mentioned about being prey dependent on their poison. Animals like the poison dart frog do not synthesize their own poisons. Instead, they eat poisonous arthropod prey, such as ants, centipedes, and mites, and then they sequester the chemicals from them into glands on their skin. The poison is now used for defense against potential predators. Due to this dependency on specific poisonous prey, captive poison dart frogs that are not fed this diet are therefore not poisonous. There's also an invasive population on some islands in Hawaii as well, and these are harmless too, since they don't have the poisonous prey available to them. The next poisonous animal is one that might surprise you. Poisonous birds. There are a few species that, similar to the poison dart frogs, consume poisonous insects and even poisonous plants, sequestering that poison for defensive purposes. Main reason I've been going on about poisonous animals is because there is, in fact, a few species of poisonous snakes. Did you know that? The keelback snakes in Asia. They're both venomous and poisonous. Again, being prey dependent, feeding on toads, sequestering that poison, which goes into a nuchal gland located on their neck. Now this neck area where this gland's located is very colorful, and that's in hopes that a predator will target this brightly colored area. Just to demonstrate how snakes use their venom for prey and not for people, it's this snake right here. Their venom is potentially fatal to humans, but they'll stick out their neck, not biting, trying to get you to go for their neck where the gland with the poison's located, relying on the poison for defense. Not their venom. Their venom is for prey. So even though their venom's potentially fatal to people, they rely on this poison. And there are some garter snake species that are also poisonous. Again, being prey dependent on poisonous newts. Incredible, right? Now, I hope you enjoyed this first episode on venom and poison. The next one will be on evolution of venom, the different types of venom, and then how snakes get their venom into prey. I don't know when that one will be ready. These take a lot longer. Clearly, I'm horrible at editing videos, and it takes so much time just for me to put the text on the screen at the right time and everything. So I will do my best to get it up as quickly as possible. And hopefully through this series, I'll learn more and be able to push these out faster, but also maybe put them together much better. But I hope you learned something. Let me know. Give me some feedback. Is this something you'll enjoy? I'll be back soon. Love you all. Subscribe if you're new. Stay tuned for the next episode on Venom.